up in Union Talk. Mike, what's going on, brother? What's happening, man?
Hey man, how you doing? Appreciate you having me on.
Dude, I appreciate you coming in here. Thank you so much for your debut here on Citywide Special as well, my friend. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to get started. A lot to talk about. The union been really busy this past week and a half, so it's kind of got a lot of content to put out there.
Absolutely, man. You guys over across the picture have been killing it as well. Make sure you guys are checking them out here as Jose is checking on it. What's up, Jose? What's going on, brother? So real quick, so obviously big win on Saturday. It was Union style soccer. They dominated, man. So going forward, obviously, a lot of eyes on the Union, a lot of strict eyes here on the Union, especially from this fan base. What can we expect from this team going forward as we near the end of this regular season?
I mean, we talked about last night on Across the Pitch. You don't want to overlook Toronto, right? It's easy to overlook a team that's at the bottom of the table. They're kind of going through some shambles with coaching changes, all that kind of stuff. But you don't want to look at Red Bull and completely gloss over the Toronto match because it's a game you should win. It's a game you should walk away with 3 points, and it's a game where you should climb the table, especially with Cincinnati going to Atlanta. There's a very good chance you close that gap for the supporter shield, and then in a couple weeks they come to us on the 16th to play. I mean, that could have a massive implication for the Shield race. So it's weird to say it's a must win, but to me, it's a must win.
No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, right now, if you want to, we talked about it yesterday here. If you want to compete for that, you got to take care of business in the regular season. And unfortunately, you're going to have to keep ground with Cincinnati. I mean, you saw they won, you won as well. It's still a 9-point gap here, so it's important for us to keep ground. But I want to look at this Toronto team real quick before we look at us here. It's obviously interesting because they've been a mess. They've been a mess for a couple seasons now, right? So Bob Bradley gone. John Herdman now comes in, who is coming over from the Canadian national team. So I mean, for you personally, what can you say from your eyes here down in Philly about John Herdman?
I mean, you have to wonder how much the team is going to get behind him, right? And this isn't just for him in general; it's for any new coach that steps in as an interim coach. Or the team going to get behind him? Is he going to come in with new tactics or some sort of just different energy to the clubhouse or the locker room that's going to spice things up? So it's really one of those games where you could see Toronto come out just blazing hot and they're ready to prove themselves and make sure they can all keep that starting position, or they're going to be, whatever. Our season's crap anyway. This coach is brand new. It's a nobody. We're going to just kind of don't worry about it, that mentality. So it's really comes down to the players, the leadership in the locker room, and how they're going to approach the game. It's certainly at least a good direction for Toronto. I mean, they can't get much worse, as we've kind of highlighted. So, golf clap for them for trying something different. But it's if I'm the Union, I should definitely be on my toes tomorrow.
It's interesting because it feels like Toronto is just trying to reimagine what they did in the 2010s, right? I feel like Bradley and Altidore are this generation's Bernadeschi and Insigne. They went out, they splashed, they got the key role players, and it just hasn't worked out. And dude, you need a complete team. And I look at this Toronto team, there's clear holes despite their wings having, all generational Italian players there. So, and obviously CJ Spong is in the center there. But I'm intrigued by Herdman because obviously, look, with Canada, he did really well with the women's. He did really well with the men's. Obviously, the best year they ever had last year, especially in CONCACAF play. And now he's got to come into Toronto. He has a reputation setting culture, and that's really what Toronto needs. But, Bob Bradley's also done that before. Like he said, look what the culture he created in LA. And that didn't work. So I'm curious if John can get this turned around here, man.
I mean, sometimes you bring in pieces if you want to go way back to the dream team of the Eagles, right? You had all the right pieces in place, right? They were all there. It looked like it was going to be a great roster, and it just didn't work out. So there are times where you have good quality pieces, they just don't mesh together. And just look at Carranza from Miami, right? He's obviously a good quality player. Didn't work out in that culture, that environment. He had injuries, of course, too. So maybe this is a step in the right direction, which, I mean, like you said, they have the talent that's there. It's just a matter of now growing from that.
Yeah, man. And of course, Jose, always getting our back here. First day technically in charge, so a bit of a break in lead. I did not see anything in the Canadian reports there, so I appreciate you, Jose. That's Jose. We appreciate you, man. Yeah. So let's look at real quick at our squad here. First off, man, dude, can we give a big congratulations to Jesus, brother?
I know, bueno. Look at him go.
So happy, man. I'm so happy for him, dude. And I'm really proud of Venezuela like, as a Colombian national fan, I get so pissed off because in Colombia, we have this stigmatism still, like in 2023, towards the MLS, right? And here's Venezuela. They don't care. If you are playing consistent minutes, you're doing well, they will call you up.
Yeah,
And I
they
really
have
do
like 8
appreciate that.
players, right? It's 8, 6 players, something like that?
Jose Martin, I think Junior Savarino is there in there as well. I'll have to
Mhm.
look at the entire list, but dude, they don't mind that, and I really do appreciate that, man. Dude, Jesus, to me, I don't know about you, but the reason why I'm so happy with Jesus' play, besides the obvious factor, is that my big question mark heading into this season was, dude, what's life after Ali? It's something that you needed to think about.
Yeah.
And so Jesus to me has solidified that role there. And I think going forward, I mean that's your shuttle midfielder.
Well, you had a lot of questions about also who else on this roster could fill in that role. It wasn't even just Bueno. Was it, would McGlynn do that? Would they change the formation? Would Quinn Sullivan be there? Because a lot of people, like myself, argue that Quinn Sullivan isn't as much of a striker as much as he is a midfielder. Which in that game that we saw against DC, I actually was saying to Jose and Dave, like I wanted to see Quinn on that right side of the diamond a bit rather than oh my god, this it's escaping right now. Liam Flock in the six.
Right.
So I wanted to see some shifting around. So I'm definitely excited to see that not only are the fans supporting Bueno, and not only is Bueno, obviously proven himself, but you see the curtain is behind him now. He's like Bueno's earned the starting role. He's beginning to give Ali less minutes right now. Obviously, he's still kind of dealing with the health issue, but you can kind of see the changing of the guard there a bit in front of you as the season's progressing. So I'm very happy for Bueno, and just tip the hat to the Union youth development. Right? Think about it. This kid came in with Davo a couple years ago, has been he's been virtually a nobody on the Union first team, and now suddenly he's just a household name. So credit to the youth development and him for sticking it out. And it's really just we're all proud of Bueno. I know Kyle Wood is proud of Bueno for sure. That's his
Yeah,
boy.
man. Yeah, man. Matthias, I was in Matthias Davo, dude. What a name, dude. What a
Yeah.
what a story that was, man. The
Oh my
the
gosh.
mystery of Davo, man. Why I never got missed, but hey, it is what it is, man. You nailed it on the head, and I love having Ali coming off as a super sub. I mean, you saw kind of the spark of energy even brought even in that Miami match that we're trying to forget terribly here
Yeah.
in Philadelphia. But it is something really fun to watch, man. And like you kind of saw with having all four at 100% in the midfield. So all four in that diamond. So you're talking Brujo. Now looks like McGlynn is taking that left shuttler. Bueno and Gazak. Dude, it makes everything else so much simple. And I love the three back set. I think in the attack, though, however, because of how the Union like to play, I think the diamond fits them much, much better. But I think that all has to do with now you got that engine running again in that midfield. It doesn't matter who you
Well,
play against,
well,
man.
also when you have Bueno on the right hand side, you can kind of allow Jose Martinez to go up the right side of the field more
Yeah,
often
man.
because Bueno can come into the six. You're not going to have Bedoya come into the six to replace him,
No.
so it's really interesting to see how this team will grow because I think Martinez does get trapped sometimes at the bottom of that diamond when he is so dangerous up top, as we've seen him multiple times already throughout his career. So it's exciting to see the growth of the diamond and the changing of the guard because also to your point with the three in the back, Damian Lowe, as good as he's been this year, recently has not been playing well. So now you wonder, it's like, I think Curtin really liked that three in the back set for a little bit, but now he's seeing the way things have developed. He's like, let's get back to the diamond. Bueno's playing well. Martinez is playing well. Let's kind of go back to what we know. And it seems, as of right now, to be working okay.
Even Jim's growing, man. Dude, I mean, I mean, Jim as the years have gone on, like he's always been married to one system, but like this year, he has been even like you've heard him talk about like the three in the back. It's not the biggest fan, but at the time, it's what we needed.
Yeah.
So I mean, kudos to Jim, man. He's growing out of it too, man.
Yeah, and listen, he did call out Michael Uwa a couple weeks ago, right? He says like he wasn't
Yeah.
that good, and
Yep.
you didn't really typically see Curtin ever call out a player. I mean, I can't
Right.
remember the last time he's ever said anything verbally about anybody negatively, but it was just enough to seems to get Michael Uwa started back up again, right? He scored 2 consecutive games, so even that, as in terms of a managerial perspective, maybe that's some growth for Curtin. He knows the right way to push certain buttons, and now if Michael Uwa goes on a run, you're going to look back on that and say, "Hey, was Curtin calling him out a bit? Maybe the best thing for his season."
Well, speaking of UA, because last time UA faced off against Toronto, there was a little bit of a hat trick going on. So
I
maybe we get
noticed.
that. Maybe we get that luck here again. So, Mike, when I look at this matchup here, now you nailed it on the head in the beginning.
Mhm.
Never, ever, ever, ever do you look ahead. But when I look at this matchup here, what I see, Toronto's back line. I mean, we should be able to tear that bad boy up. You feel me?
Agreed.
But the attack, although you got the names, I'm not really worried about them with what we have in our back line. And if they continue to play at an inspired rate, then, dude, I'm really not concerned about them whatsoever. I mean, even our old friend, Teacher Sapong, listen, solid number 9, does it all. But, I mean, I really like our chances with that, man. So this matchup, like, it just feels like it is, again, in the on the side of the union here, man.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Glesnes' performance against Benteke and the DC United forwards. I thought he played great. I thought Nathan Harriel also had a pretty solid performance. So even though the defense as a whole may not have been 100% on point the entire DC United match, I thought individually they played pretty solid on that right side in particular. But if you look at the forwards, I know Baribo's still basically a work in progress. Jim Curtin mentioned that today in the press conference. He's essentially in preseason form. You have to get there. Carranza can really only play about 60 to 70 minutes because of his hamstring, and they're not going to blow him out, especially with obviously a lot of the season left to go. So you wonder, is Ua, after playing 89 minutes, going to get another full 70, 80 minutes? Or does Curtin go more conservative and go Donovan and Quinn Sullivan up top and try to just make it work with them? And that's what concerns me, is that he gets too much of a turnover on the roster and you don't have the firepower to keep up with Toronto. So unfortunately, they could be a 1-1 draw or 0-0 draw in that regard. But I mean, listen, you kind of have to play at least Uwan Carranza 60 minutes. I would say at least.
Dude, as we always say, man, in this league, there's never a guarantee, but for
No.
sure, the matchup on paper does look very favorable for the Philadelphia Union. That is important to mention because look, the Red Bull typically around this time of year they do turn it up.
Mhm.
They are fighting for playoffs as well, and as we all know, Miami is they're chasing like crazy right now, and what I think they're still in last place even after that one, but
Yeah.
it should be definitely interesting. So diamond midfield again for this one. What
I
do we
think
say?
so. I don't think you try to get too cute with this. I mean, I know we've seen like the Christmas tree back in the day, and we had that weird Atlanta. Remember that formation we had at Atlanta where Nathan Harrell was on the left hand side and Leon Flock. You can't get too cute out there, Jim. Just keep it simple. Go diamond. If you make some rotations, so be it. But you have to keep it with what you know, because every time he changes it too much, like you saw against Miami, kind of shit hits the fan.
That's literally what it
Literally,
is,
yeah.
man.
um,
So obviously Blake and goal.
yep.
We obviously Wagner, Glasses Elliott,
I would go Olivier on the right hand side because I
Livy on the
think
right hand. Okay.
I think we've seen over time that Nathan typically plays against Red Bull. I think I can probably think of the last 4 or 5 matchups in general. Harriel has played against Red Bull. So I'm going to say Olivier plays on the right. Now, he also has international call duty to Cameroon. I don't
Yes.
know how much of that goes into it as well. I don't know if they're going to
Okay.
want to keep him off because of that. I don't know the
Okay.
details of that. I assume Flock is going to play the six. And I don't know how you feel about that in the six, but he
I
probably will.
mean, now he is the backup again, only because Jesus has emerged as a starting shuttler,
Yeah.
where Jesus to me won the backup job, but now he's won an actual starting job. But yeah, no, and what's interesting too is that Oda, who a lot of people were hoping would get some minutes this year, he gets loaned off a couple weeks ago. So it's interesting. I'm curious where this team goes in the offseason. I haven't really taken a deep dive into our U2, but for sure, the Jim, I'm sorry, not Jim, Ernst has done a good job of supplementing the midfield, especially with CDM. So we'll see what they do this up. And we still have, I guess we technically do have Andres Pereira, but you know,
Yeah.
and I guess Odala too.
Well, listen, I wish we could have kept O'Donnell. I know we have that the kid who played on the U2. I always forget how to pronounce his name. He just had his first start on the U2. He's that center back that we have. I don't know if he gets
Oh,
any minutes.
Luenyu, yeah, yeah.
I don't know if he comes in for Elliott because we don't know
Okay.
if we don't know if Lowe's going to be back on
Mm,
tomorrow. I don't know. He was not there on Saturday, and some people on social media had hinted that there was a family issue. So
okay.
is Lowe going to play for us on Wednesday? I would like to see at least Elliott take a break, just so both center backs aren't being driven into the ground, because we've already played 38 games this year, man. It's a lot of soccer. It's only August, September, basically.
Dude, it is pretty nuts here, man. And two
Yeah.
forwards, you think it's gonna be Quinn and? and
It's probably
Donovan.
gonna it's probably gonna be yeah, it's probably gonna be Ua and maybe Donovan, maybe Sullivan or Carranza comes in as a sub late in the second half just to kind of get his minutes in.
Okay,
But the Carranza hamstring worries me the most
for
bec-
sure.
because you don't want if you had to pick between one, I'd say you're more tied to Carranza than you are Ua in terms of production. So I think if you have to keep either of them healthy, I think Julian's a priority of the two, and maybe give Ua some extra time and I don't know, see how much fitness he really has on those legs because we never see him past 60 minutes anyway.
That's true, man. Damien is pictured getting on a plane from our boy Jose. Okay,
Okay,
okay.
there you go.
What's up, Jason? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's so what was up with Chris Bro Donovan? I saw you post that video, man, at the
You like
U2.
that? Yeah.
Dude,
So it looks like the player that hit him looks like they kind of undercut him when he went up for a header. So I get it. I don't think it was 100% intentional, but to
I
see
like that though.
Donovan get up and just say, screw you, buddy, I'm gonna knock you to the ground. I was like, okay, okay, Chris, like, damn, you got some fight into you. I know somebody was mentioning he's a Drexel Dragon. He's got some fire in his belly. I was like, yeah, damn right he does.
Dude, that was freaking awesome, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Jose clarify. So Damon is on the plane to Toronto, so he's with the club right now. So we'll see if he what his status will be for game time tomorrow night, man. Final score prediction, Mike?
I'm gonna go 2-0 Union. I do now that I hear Lowe's on the plane, I do think he starts. And you know what?
Okay.
I think if there's ever a game to get your mind off Miami and the recent performance he had, I think against Toronto would be the best opportunity to do it. So let him go out there, let him start 2-0 Union. I'm gonna go Ua and Gazdag with goals because they're both gonna probably play a significant
Yeah.
amount of time. And
What
let's
better confidence building than shutting down Bernadeschi and Insigne, man. I'm in on that.
well listen, the golden boot race is still up for grabs. So Gazdag and Carranza are gonna want to start catching up. So there's a
That's
lot on the
right.
line. There's a lot on the line tomorrow. I'm telling you.
That's right, man. Where are you gonna watch the match tomorrow, bro?
Probably just from home. Yeah, keep it
Nice.
simple. And then Sunday I'll be there at Super. Are you gonna go Sunday to the game?
I'm not sure yet. We're still up in the air. But for sure tomorrow it is Wednesday night watch along. I don't want to announce it yet, but tomorrow we'll be live for that stream. So make sure
Awesome.
if you guys are not watching, if you're not in Toronto as well, I mean that's a good away day.
Yeah.
Definitely
A lot of
check out the live stream.
a lot of people are going too. I know a handful of people that are going north.
That's sick.
So
Yeah, get there before it gets really cold, man.
yeah,
But
right.
Mike, dude, we really appreciate you taking the time, man. Just real quick, where can people find Across the Pitch, man?
Of course, 8:45 p.m. every single Monday night at the AAT Sports Network. That's AAT Sports _. We go live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it. Comments only on Facebook and YouTube. My handle's Barrera1323, and then Jose and Dave, Jose R Nunez 91, Dave GC Miller, also on Twitter. So you can catch
Awesome
us all
stuff,
there,
man.
man. Yeah.
Mike, we'll catch you soon, man. Enjoy the
All right,
match
man. I
tomorrow, bro.
appreciate you having me on, buddy.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Barrera from Across the Pitch, man, giving us the insight there. Make sure you guys do check those guys out. They're doing a really good job of talking, covering Philadelphia Union. And of course, all across, all about the Birds does talk a lot of Philly sports as well. I don't want to ignore these comments you guys had them drop in here. So I really do appreciate you guys checking in. Jason checking in here as well on TikTok. I appreciate that. Yes, McGlynn, McGlynn Mania. So Carranza still has the same injury. He's just nursing it right now, so his minutes are limited. So just keep an eye out for that. But yeah, he's on limitations. That's all. But he is playing. If I'm not mistaken, in the Miami Leagues Cup match, he was in the 18, but he was definitely working out on the sideline. I'd have to look back at that game. But yeah, just keep an eye out for the limitations of Carranza. Insigne walked out of practice because coach split his reps with a 20-year. That's a day? Jose, you got. I don't know if Jose still is. If Jose is still here, is that true? And Insigne walked out of practice today. I didn't even hear that. I mean, listen, a lot of pressure and a lot of eyes are on Insigne and Bernadeschi. Those guys spend a lot of money. Oh, August 25th. Insigne in a bit of an argument with Toronto FC interim manager Terry Dunfield on Thursday, storming off the pitch. Not the first session he's walked off in anger. Jeez Louise, man. So this was before their match against Columbus, and he started against Columbus. Dude, that's just terrible, man. Oh, okay. Dude, that's not a good look. That is not a good look whatsoever. But I mean, that's the key here for Toronto. And if you're Toronto, now you have John Herdman coming in, which thanks to Jose, October 1st, we know he will be there. So the real question mark Toronto has to ask themselves as they're going towards the end of the season, obviously playoffs are out of the picture. What do you have? What pieces are you going to take into next year? And most importantly, are you willing to continue paying Insigne and Bernardeschi? I'm sure there's a Saudi Arabian club out there that are willing to take those contracts off your books. I don't think that's too much of a problem. But do you want to continue with those guys?